cabbage that I got by the pound as a whole head is a significantly better value than this pre-bagged and pre-sliced coleslaw in my case, because the way it's shredded, I would still have to cut it up anyway. So I got a pound for 89 cents, and this is 16 ounces. That would be a pound, and it's $1.98. So it's exactly half of the cost to get the same amount. At my Walmart, these egg roll wrappers are $2.53. But if I had gone to the Asian store, I can get them for $2.20 in my area. It is 6:20 a.m. I have a really busy day ahead of me. I do work a full-time job, but I also want to make sure that we eat well. And so I am starting on some egg rolls this morning. We're going to have Chinese food for dinner tonight. The great thing about egg rolls and spring rolls is that they freeze so well. And so that way you can make a bunch at once and just take them out as you need them. Keep them in freezer bags, pop them out when you need them, and put them in an air fryer. And I counted all the ingredients, even the oil that I'm using, all the spices and everything. It's still going to cost me less than a quarter of the cost of buying frozen egg rolls pre-made from the grocery store. And I'm also saving myself a lot of unknown ingredients and preservative. I bought this at Publix one day when I was there when it was $1. And so that was obviously a really good value. But it's not $1 right now. And I was at Walmart, and this was 87 cents, I think it was, a pound. So this clocked in right at 1 pound, so that's 87 cents for that. Sometimes this can be a good value, but you really have to look at the prices and the amount, the ounces that you're getting. And remember that this is not finely shredded enough to go into spring rolls or egg rolls, so you'd have to cut it up anyway. So you have to factor that in. As always, when I cook, I use a produce bag that I stole from the grocery store. I just put it in a bowl. That makes my cleanup easy. I have this little bit of extra carrot I'm going to use. I probably wouldn't normally use this in spring rolls, but I am today. I'm just make sure that I chop it up really, really finely. Garlic, ginger paste, and you can also just use ginger garlic paste. But ginger and garlic are musts. And then also, of course, salt and pepper. I just cut the head of cabbage in half, and then I cut the core out. That's a little bit too tough for us to use. Now I'm going to wash each leaf. If you don't have a salad spinner that you can put the leaves in after you wash them so that they can be really thoroughly dry, I would say wash them and just try to shake them out in a strainer or a colander as best you can, and try to give them as much time as you can to dry off before you use them, because you don't want to pan fry something wet. Okay, cabbage cut up. Heating up my pan, you only need a little, very little bit, like maybe a teaspoon of oil in this pan. I'm going to use coconut oil. That's my favorite thing to use in spring rolls. But you can also just spray a little bit of vegetable oil on the pan. You really only need a very light coating of oil, especially if it's a nonstick like this. It really only took my oil a minute to heat up. So don't be shy with your garlic or ginger. On a medium flame, this might need 30-40 seconds. Toss in our cabbage and carrots and broccoli. A word about pans. I try to avoid places like HomeSense or Home Goods, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, those kind of places when I buy pans, because the thing is, it's such a crapshoot. Sometimes you will get fantastic pans for the price, and sometimes they'll be horrible, and you don't typically know any of the brands. I like to go to a place where the product is consistent. I know what I'm getting. I love the pans at Sam's Club. A lot of mom and pop restaurants buy their pans from Sam's Club. They're definitely not the best, but they are really, really budget friendly. And a lot of the restaurants, what they do is, just because they are so budget friendly, it's easier to, toss them quickly when they get bad. So if you are looking for pots and pans, just my recommendation is don't start at like Home Goods. If Macy's and the best brands of pots and pans are out of your range, just go with Sam's Club. Walmart also has surprisingly good pans for the money, like tend to be pretty consistent. But do stay away from things that say like as seen on TV, like copper pan. I don't know. Anything that says as seen on TV, if it's a kitchen, anything, stay away from it. You'll see a lot of water start to come out of this cabbage here. So we're going to let it cook on a medium flame for a few minutes. I'm going to go run and make the bed. Let some of this water steam out of here, and then I'll put salt and pepper on it. And once it's like really nice and soft, I'll let it cool in the pan. It needs to be completely cool before we try to form egg rolls or spring rolls or anything like that. While it's cooling, I'm going to go run and take the dogs for a walk. This is one of the sheets, so you're just going to take some water in a little bowl, and you can take like 2 fingers and just run your fingers along all sides like that. It's going to help it to stick together. So I'm just going to continue forming these egg rolls. They're kind of like if you ever made pancakes or something like that, it does take time to make them look exactly uniform. Yours may not quite look like mine at first. That's okay. They're still going to taste good. Just make sure that you don't wrap them too tightly or overfill them, because that can cause them to break. Only take these out of the package when you're ready to use them, and use every single one of them because they will dry out really fast. As I'm forming my egg rolls, I have my oil heating in a wok. I love to fry in a wok because due to the shape of it, all of the space is at the top. And when you fry stuff, it rises to the top, right? So you have a lot of space at the top for things to move around. But at the bottom, because it's smaller, you really don't need to use as much oil. And because I'm frying something that is vegetables and it doesn't have any meat in it, the great thing is once this oil cools, I can reuse it and just like bottle it up and reuse it again. So let's let that oil heat up. A big part of maximizing your food budget and your time also is understanding when to go for convenience products and when to not go for them. These egg roll wrappers, they cost $2.50 at Walmart, and they're $2.20 at the Chinese store in my area. Now, I could absolutely make these myself. It's extremely easy, but it's also just very tedious and time consuming, and you have to factor your time in too. So it's just not worth it to save $1. Meanwhile, if you look in the produce section, you can find convenience products like pre-chopped up bell pepper or onion. And how long does it take you to cut up an onion? Like 30 seconds. But they add on an additional like $1.50 for that packaging of that pre-chopped up onion. So would you be willing to spend $1.50 to save 30 seconds of labor? I mean, I wouldn't. So not all convenience items are equally convenient and equally worth it. These break down to about 4 cents a piece, each egg roll wrapper. It's not worth your time to make these. The plus side to frying in so little oil is that your oil is going to heat up really fast. The downside is that it's also going to cool off really fast. So I typically can only fry about 3 of these egg rolls at a time, and then I let them cool and drain on paper towels. Starting on the next thing that I'm going to make, we have some thinly sliced boneless, skinless chicken breast. This, for me, was a good value because it was already pounded. The chicken breasts were already pounded so that they're level, so they're going to cook evenly. I'm cutting these into bite-sized pieces. Oh, I should say the reason that I thought these were a good value is that they were the same price per pound as chicken breasts that had not been already pounded thin. So that made it more convenient. It was worth it. Okay, I poured the hot oil out of my wok because I want to use this wok again. When you fry, like I'm frying a larger quantity today, you want to fry it as infrequently as possible because it's going to stink up your house. In my own home, this is Eric's house. In my own home, I have an outdoor kitchen. So I do a lot of cooking outside. We don't have that option here. He's in an apartment. So, like I said, I just cook in larger batches as infrequently as you can. And then I'm going to use some incense. Then I have some other tips to get rid of food smells. But yeah, incense is something like a billion people swear by. It really works. So I'm going to light some up right now. So I just toss my chicken breast. Going to put a little salt and pepper on this. Woks are so great because you have a lot of surface area for your food to cook. So this is all that we need to make honey garlic spicy chicken bites as another second appetizer besides our egg rolls. We're going to use obviously garlic. We're going to use a chili garlic sauce, honey. Feel free to just take some honey packets every time that you go into one of those bigger fancy gas stations and they have all those little, I know I get this from Wawa, just take as many honey packets as you can. And then soy sauce, make sure that you're using a Chinese soy sauce when you are making Chinese food. There is a difference between like Chinese and Japanese sauces. While our chicken cooks, let's make a sauce. There are no exact ingredients, measurements here. Just mix it until it tastes good to you. You don't need to add any salt. Plenty of salt in the soy sauce. As I'm making this sauce, something to think about. I have to go to work now. So, I've been perfecting those wife skills that Pearl Davis of her Wife School channel talks about since well before she was ever born. And I am extremely efficient in the kitchen. And even using convenience products like paper towels, paper plates, things like that, I'm still going to have cleanup, still going to have some dishes to wash. And this is effort, to put together homemade meals. So one thing that I have noticed is that there are a lot of men who say they want a traditional woman, and they still need to have somebody who will chip in for bills. Maybe not quite 50-50, but they definitely need help. And one thing to think about, it's not even just, I've heard in the conversation like, oh, you don't deserve a woman like that. I don't even think that's the question. I think that you should think about, I got a text. One thing that I think you should consider is, do you even really want somebody like that? Meaning somebody like me. Because think about, I woke up at 6 a.m. I'm constantly moving. I'm constantly active. I don't know which stars are dancing with which stars. I don't know what's going on those latest TV shows. I am so out of a lot of pop culture. I don't really sit down. I don't have a lot of free time. Like, is that the kind of person that you would want to be with? Don't even think about if you qualify for that. Would you be a good fit for somebody like that? Or would you find them annoying? For most modern couples, this is not a realistic thing to do every day like I do. And your home cooked meals maybe will come for like Sunday lunch or Sunday dinner. It's not going to be a daily thing at all. So like I said, just keep mixing the different ingredients and trust your taste buds. You'll know what tastes good. We want a balance between garlic, sweet, the umami of the soy sauce, and that chili. Can you see that stuff that's stuck to the pan here? That is flavor. We don't want to lose that. So when we put in our sauce, that fond, as it's called, it's going to get absorbed and picked up by the sauce. So you'll just use your spatula or whatever to scrape that fond and help it to build the sauce. Okay, turn off the heat and now add your sauce. It's going to seem overly wet for a minute, but all that honey is going to help thicken it up. Here is our last step. We're just going to take about a teaspoon of cornstarch and add it to about a teaspoon of water that's here, and make sure it's cold water, and we're going to add it to that sauce. It's going to help thicken it and make it a proper sauce. Cornstarch is like, I don't know, $1. It lasts forever, and you use it in a lot of different Chinese food. So if Chinese food is something that you like, things like a good quality Chinese soy sauce, cornstarch, these are great things to invest in. You'll definitely use it. Chili, honey, garlic, chicken bites. I just serve these with some toothpicks. It's a great second appetizer. I'm going to top it with everything bagel seasoning. Why? Well, a small pack of just the white sesame seeds cost more than this. But what's in this? White sesame seeds, black sesame seeds, onion flakes, garlic flakes. It's perfect, and it actually ended up costing less. It's going to make a really nice topping. Everything bagel seasoning is a great topping for tons of different Chinese stuff. Okay, then green onions. Next, I'm going to make some, I don't know, spicy stir-fry noodles and some fortune cookies. I'll show that in the next video. Our egg rolls now need to go into whatever I'm not going to use today. They need to go into a freezer bag along with a couple of clean, dry paper towels to help absorb moisture. That way, as soon as whenever we want to eat them, they can just be taken out of the freezer and popped into the air fryer.